We've spent the better part of the past 4 years venturing to some of this country's hardest to reach places, experiencing these incredible landscapes.
And this anchorage might be one of the coolest ones I've ever been to.
Holy.
It is like a rock amphitheater in here.
Actually.
With a full-on view out into the inlet.
And we've done it all on our super yacht, Uintah. And although it's a super yacht to us, majority of folks wouldn't think so.
We've made do without modern luxuries like refrigeration, windlasses,
lights, and autopilot.
We've had to catch our drone while steering the boat with our foot because we don't have an autopilot, so that's been really hard and challenging, but also kind of fun.
The limiting factor in all of this is something that most folks take for granted every day, but all of that is going to change. We're gonna have electricity.
Hooray!
We spent the past few months gearing up for what will be our biggest adventure yet, sailing all the way to Alaska.
Uintah just doesn't need to get us there safely. She also has to be our working office, our home, our living space.
We currently don't have any solar on the boat, so we've been running into this ongoing challenge of not having enough electricity. Basically, the only time we can generate power is when we're running the engine to motor in and out of anchorages. That's been a bit of a challenge for two people trying to make a go of working online. But we are so excited because all of that is about to change.
Milwaukee. Plugging.
We're rolling. Okay, well, we're down here today with Jeff from Barefoot Renewables because we are going to install some solar here on the boat.
Woo. Sunny day. It's perfect.
This is what you've redone most of this, okay? Yeah, so redone most of this. Great.
You might remember a few months back, actually like a year ago for us, that we rewired this entire boat.
Quite a spaghetti mess. Like, there's so much wire tucked in behind here, and it's run every different ways. There was 45 years of previous users' modification. It was an absolute bird's nest of wires. There was wires changing gauge sizes. There was just things that shouldn't be in boats. It was a pretty tough job last year, but ultimately, like, we only had such a small time after getting back from New Zealand that we just kind of had to bang it out real quick, put the boat back together so that we could go sailing.
Gotta go when you can, not when you're ready.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we did last year. So we've been busy working recently to kind of finish up that project. Smart shunt in last year, the buses in last year, we cleaned up the wiring, and now we get to finish that project by adding solar, adding other charge controllers, adding battery chargers, and kind of just really optimize that system, which is really exciting.
I'm Jeff. I'm with Barefoot Renewables. Been doing solar for about 8 years now, and super happy to help James and Allison put some solar on the Uintah here for their upcoming Alaska cruise. Got lots of Victron stuff going in. 3 100-watt solar panels. They're going to be off the back of the boat here. Kind of talked about some shading and things like that. Got a new lithium battery going in. That should be really nice.
I am so excited about these. Cannot wait to install them on the boat. We're gonna have electricity.
This is where I try not to drop them into the ocean. So they're gonna go something like this, and then they'll come up something like that.
How modern are we?
We're modern people, love. We are modern people.
Welcome, Uintah, to the 21st century.
Thank you, WeGo, for sponsoring the solar project. Super, super stoked to finally have electricity on the boat, powered by the sun.
Have to figure out just a little bit of a layout situation here. What's going to be easiest for the cables. So we need solar panels, we need charge controllers, which basically regulate the solar energy that's coming in, turns it into a battery charging voltage to charge our batteries. The next thing after that is typically we need an inverter.
I have a Victron inverter.
Oh yeah, great.
In under there.
Which will transform our DC voltage to household power for, say, things like a blender or a coffee grinder, you know, the simple things of life. Perfect. What's that, 1,000?
No, it's just 375.
Oh yeah.
It's basically just to run the laptop.
Oh, great. Perfect. Another thing that we have, James has, is a DC to DC converter, which is good for switching between battery banks.
This is my old house bank, which I'm going to use as my start bank.
Nice.
Because it should be fine to start a diesel on
Yep.
house batteries.
Cool. Great.
So like if something does screw up, then at least you've got another 200 amp hours of lead acid.
Totally.
Sitting there.
Yes. Lithium, sometimes they're funny. What else do we have? We have a smart shunt, which is great for looking at battery readouts to see what we're maybe bringing in with the solar panels, or at nighttime, maybe what we're drawing from the system, because that's really what our best tell is how good our system is. The only wires that need to come in and out is the positives, obviously.
We're just going to mount the solar chargers here on the bulkhead that goes in the back of the boat.
If we have solar panels coming in through the top, out of the bottom to each controller.
They're going to be a nice convenient location for us to run the power in from the solar panels through the hull, because that's easier than trying to crawl around and do it under the boat. So we're just going to get everything set up, get a bit of wiring in place, and then we're going to install it in the boat and work out where we're going to run the rest of the wires.
So out of the bottom here into the PV, and then battery into here, and then out and out to the battery. Solar panels in, boom, 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 out.
Beautiful.
Okay, easy peasy.
Yeah, that was deceptively simple.
We're basically done.
Cut.
I got to meet Allison actually on Nuka Island last summer. We were working on a documentary for our friend Sanford Williams, and we had a solar project out there. He has an off-grid carving shop. It was really great. We had such a great time. And I think that's where maybe the idea for this project came, because from meeting you that time, and then we started talking about your sailboat and your adventures. Is sailing kind of new to you guys then, or
Yeah.
Wow,
I think
cool.
I've been sailing twice before we bought the boat.
Wow. I've been, watching your YouTube channel and stuff too, and when you guys reached out this winter saying that it's time to do something with the boat, we gotta bring it up to the 21st century. So yeah, I was really happy to come out and give you guys a hand. I'm a big supporter. Just get your little screwdriver in there, and then they come free.
Oh, okay, cool. We're putting a whole bunch of breakers in on this solar install, and I think it allows you to turn the panels on and off without damaging the panels, but I'm not really too sure. I imagine it stops them from surging as well and kind of controls the flow. But I didn't realize you needed this many breakers when installing solar.
Each solar panel, we have 3 solar panels. So we're gonna come in with our positive solar cable. We're gonna come into the breaker and out, and we're gonna go to each charge controller. Breaker 1 will be for here, 2 will be for here, 3 will be for here. That way we have protection on the panels, any short circuits or anything like that. And then we're gonna come out of the battery side of our charge controller, and we're gonna come into the bottom of here, and then this is our 20 amp breaker. And then this will all go back to the battery. So each one, charge controller 1 to breaker 1, charge controller 2 to here, and 3 to here, conversely. So we're all nice and safe, all breakered up. It's basically limiting current is, I mean, honestly, like, say somehow the wires got shorted out because we were shoving something through the back, or like on the solar side too, if we shorted out the positive and negative.
They all rub together and the insulation goes through.
It's definitely, well, I'm not going to say it's overkill, but it's something that should be in place. Don't forget the breakers.
Yeah, the breakers are
The breakers.
Breaker.
Safety first. Yeah. It's safety, but also for that very outside chance something bad happens, that we don't short out the controller, or even, put a surge through the battery or something too.
We like safety.
Yeah, safety's good. Yeah. Less melty wires is good. Yes.
Yeah. Nothing like that smell of burning plastic.
Yeah, you've seen that before you rewired the Uintah.
Yeah.
There was some real questionable wiring practices.
You gotta love the way wiring comes out. You have a little bit of a lighter gauge wire spliced onto a heavier section of wire, spliced back onto a lighter gauge of wire. It's very unique, but you are protected by this fuse, so really, you're nice and safe. Some dodgy things we pulled out.
Yes, for sure. I mean, this is definitely on the heavier duty side.
Red for negative, right?
Red for negative, yes. Check the instruction books. I started as an electrician, just your classically trained electrician. After I finished my journeyman's ticket, I kind of was just thinking I wanted something a little bit more. I really liked the off-grid stuff, and I've always been passionate about the outdoors and things like that. So it actually turned into a hike on the North Coast Trail the first year it opened in 2009. I learned about a wind farm that was going to happen up on the North Island, and that got me really excited. So I ended up on this journey. I actually went into wind farm construction and spent 5 years doing wind farms, which took me to the North Island project for one, but Alberta, I was down in Portland and California for a while too. And the big thing I realized when I was down in Portland and California was just how many solar panels were on people's houses. And it just wasn't happening in Victoria where I was living at the time. So I ended up transitioning from the wind industry and decided to try and get myself into the solar realm. And it's been 8 years now, and try and tell people I'm retired from being an electrician and just focus on solar projects, which is really nice. It's been great. How do I keep going doing all these installs? How do you? Blaine does.
Emotional support. Great, super tidy, professional.
Yeah, it's looking skookum. I like it. It's much easier to do the wiring here on the dock where you can see it rather than all hunched over like we're going to be doing from now on.
Drilling some holes in the boat time. Here we go. Let's see if we sink or not.
I think it should be fine.
Famous last words.
Beautiful. Commitment.
We committed. Fire the hole. Thread that on.
Do the yoga.
You have to be able to do yoga to get in there to chase wires around your boat.
Pass me a screwdriver, perhaps?
This is an electrician's hammer.
Okay.
That's pretty tight. I'd say that's pretty tight. Feels pretty good now.
There we go. It's probably not very attractive, is it? It doesn't quite fit in there, does it? Oh well. This right here is where the bulkhead is that our solar chargers are mounted to. We've just cut a little hole up the top to run our solar charge cables down into our positive breaker and then to our solar chargers. So we're going to put the panel back in place and then we're going to connect the wires up to their forever home. We are thinking that we might leave a bit of extra coiled cable on them. So in the future, if we do decide to change the location of the solar panels, say if we go to, build a solar arch or something like that down the track, then we could just unclip the cables, run them out a little bit longer and then move the panels up a little bit. And we don't have to redo the whole project just in case we ever decide to do such grandiose plans down the track.
I think most people that understand their electrical system of their boat can handle doing a solar install. Quick little line diagram. Make sure we have breakers in the right place. Make sure we have the right wire sizes. It's pretty straightforward nowadays, which is really nice.
I just got to disconnect it real quick.
Yeah, so I am disconnected up here now. Yeah, the flexi panels are great when they're brand new. And then Mother Nature kicks in and salt water and
yeah,
you get seems like people get maybe 3 years out of them. I think really it's this coating.
Yeah, I buffed it with car polish last year and it kind of put out a little bit of power.
Yeah.
And then it turned all opaque again.
Yeah. The way solar panels have come now, especially in price for one, two, just how powerful a full-size solar panel can be. I think it's something any sailor that's out, especially in the summertime, the solar can just really take care of your system. And, don't be afraid to have too many. I think if you can fit them, I think the price point is great nowadays, especially for larger solar panels. They've never been cheaper. I mean, that's the nice thing about the new ones, that it's glass. So trying to keep the panels clean is another another thing to keep in mind. Cleaning it like you would any window, really. Hey, pal.
Those guys had to take all the instruments off the top of their mast because the eagles kept on eating them.
Oh my God. Wow.
They leave all the other boats alone. They just want to sit on that one.
Amazing.
You look great. Pretty freaking skookum. So excited to take Uintah into the 21st century. It's now a modern sailing vessel. Making energy from the sun, futuristic.
One of the biggest challenges about putting these things onto the boat is how the hell do you get them to stay on the rail? Because, you know, they're just a panel. There's nothing to hang on to them. So we've had to make some brackets, and there's lots of different ways to make these things. There's kits you can buy, which is honestly probably the easiest way. I got this pretty thick kind of aluminum metal. It's check plate, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty thick and sturdy, and we just kind of found it laying around at the dump, so it was free. I cut it into a 3-inch strip, which goes right across the panel, and onto that piece of aluminum, we are going to mount these 1-inch clamps. These are for mounting things on motorcycles and that kind of stuff, so we just got them off Amazon. We're not quite sure how we're going to prop them up yet, but there's probably going to be something else that attaches to the edge of the rail and the bottom of the boat that acts as kind of a stick to stop them from falling down and to hold them up. Just trying to work out where exactly our brackets are going to go. I definitely think one needs to be in the center, and then I think there'll be one at each end, probably somewhere like 2 or 3 inches in from the edge of the panel, and then we can line it up and bolt it to the panel and put the panel onto the boat. The next step, I think, is to mark our holes and drill all of our holes, and then we can start bolting it together. We've wrapped up our solar install. All the solar panels are mounted on the brackets. They're looking really good. All the wires are on, and they all come back here to our charge controllers, which have been turned on and updated with their firmware, and they're all connected right here in our device, so we can see what they're doing. And it's really exciting because this is kind of like, you know, been days in the making, and now we get to finally flick one switch and see if it actually works, which, I mean, it's a little anxiety provoking. It's a little bit like, ooh, what's going to happen? I feel like a child at Christmas. So without further ado, let's turn on the first one and see if it works. All right, I think this is the starboard panel on. It says bulk, and we have power.
Woo!
62 watts. It's putting out 69 watts of solar power, which equates to about 4.78 amps, which is pretty solid. For a 100-watt panel, it's operating at like 2/3 capacity, and it's putting out nearly 5 amps of current just from one panel, which is sweet. I think that's awesome. That's way more than I was expecting. So we're actually like charging off our solar panels right now. Shall we add solar panel number 2 on the port side to the array and make sure it is functioning? Here we go. On. Let's see if it happens. Let's see what happens. It says bulk. 60 watts. Whoa. Dude, this is sick. It's also putting out 70 watts of power, and now our cumulative? I can't say that word right now. Now the total of both panels is like 9.5, nearly 10 amps of power, which is actually like a lot of power. That means you could be sitting editing on your computer just on the solar power alone, not making any dent in the batteries, which I think that's going to be a game changer. So the last one is just the Dodger panel, which gets a little bit more shading because of the boom and the mast and all of the rigging. So let's add it to the array, make sure it works, and see what happens to our total. It says bulk, means we're winning. Okay, so it's putting out a little bit less than the other ones. It's putting out 62 watts, but it brings up our total charging to like 14 amps, which I think that's pretty rock solid. If you had 14 amps pumping out power for like 6 hours a day, that's like a solid 90 amps of power, which is more than we need on a daily basis. Last year when we were cruising, just using our lead acid being charged off the engine alternator, because we didn't have any solar, we were kind of limited at only using 50 amp hours a day, which meant Al could kind of edit on the computer for like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and we could run our anchor light at night. And we were still eating dinner by candlelights because we're hopeless romantics. But, you know, this is going to completely revolutionize the game. We can pump out way more power than we can actually use. You could be editing right now, charging the laptop, making videos for all you cool people out there in the world, and you could still have an excess of 5 amps left over to charge the batteries. Woo! We're not going to have any excuses for having dead drone batteries, dead camera batteries. We're going to capture everything at once. Everything's going to be on film now. Just cameras rolling non-stop videos coming out. We could be sitting here on Instagram as we're sailing along running Starlink. Hallelujah. We're going to ruin cruising for everybody.
But we probably won't do that. We'll just shut it all off and...
No, I'm going to shut it all off. And then when I get to the anchorage, I'm going to run my generator. Because that's what you do, right? We've got to make some muffins, cook some brownies in our induction oven after motoring all day. Because we love that stuff. Cheers, guys.
I've been pretty passionate about trying to help and support societies or people that are just doing good things. You know, we have Orca Lab up here on the North Islands, supported the Namgis for fish farm removal, Sanford Williams out on the West Coast, just really trying to help people. I think that's a great thing. I think that's something that we all can do, is you can take your skills and just try and help support someone. You know, and most people need energy. This is what I'm finding out too. There's a lot of people doing cool things that could really use a little bit of energy, and that's with technology and stuff too. It's with our cell phones, you know, it's with charging laptops and things like that, or cameras for you guys too. So it's been really nice to be able to help out, just to kind of give back a little bit in my company.
Hooray! Solar system is sized correctly. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, WeGo Solar. You guys are freaking rock stars, powering us going to Alaska. Cheers, guys, and thank you so very much.
You can never have too much. I mean, really, if you have to survive on just rice, better have a 4-liter jug of soy sauce with it.
You are the solar bracket.
And the sun.
Yeah.
Bracket.
Nailed it. That was perfect.
Thanks, Jeff.
Do not call him. Seriously, but joking. I'm like, oh, I don't want people calling me to come wire their boats. It's not what I need. So good.